Welcome everyone to another NASCAR Heat Evolution video today. Today I want to focus exclusively for a few minutes on the career mode. Now the career mode is something that excites me quite a bit because you get it in most every other type of game where you have RPG, whether it's an RPG game or you have RPG elements, but racing games generally don't give you much in the way of progression. Generally, it's all about hopping into a car, going as fast as you can, and then that's kind of it. You can either run a single race, you can run a season, but there's really no real progression to it. Well, so this excited me because I like the idea of progression. I like the idea of starting out with a bottom tier team, or in the case of this game, they start out as a brand new team, and then you can progress from there. So your skills improve with the team. So I thought about how to do this, and at first I thought, well, I'll just take you guys on like a let's play series and let's go, race one all the way through as far as we want to take it. But then I realized that was going to be very limiting because it didn't give me a good way to summarize sort of what goes on. So I wanted to make this particular video. So as you can see in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, I'm ready for race 6, which is going to be at Martinsville. All right, so I've played the first 5 races just to give an idea of sort of what was going on in the career mode and what to expect. Now, the first thing that you get to do in career mode is you get to create your player. So at the bottom of the screen, you can see some options. Starting at the bottom left, you've got the back button, then you've got career race settings, then you've got edit character, and then of course you've got accept, which will open up whatever particular option you have on the right highlighted. Let's go with edit character. The loading screens I've noticed here are actually pretty quick. Now I'm using a solid state drive, so that should help quite a bit. But so I'm not too overly burdened with loading screens. Now, what you'll notice on this screen is, first of all, you've got your option for manufacturer. Now mine's going to be blocked out this time because I've already run some races and it's not going to allow you to swap manufacturers already into a season. So I've chosen Chevrolet, but you can also go Ford or Toyota. Now your numbers that you're allowed are very limited, to say the least. So I chose 99. You can choose the gender of your driver, and then you can go into hairstyles, head shapes, and then facial hairstyles, none of which really matter a whole lot of any to me. I just went with a very basic, clean look and decided that, okay, that's good enough for me. I do like that it's there, but this is a racing game after all, so I'm not terribly concerned, although I can see a lot of people wanting to go the whole Ricky Bobby avenue and creating some interesting facial hair characteristics and so forth. But we'll leave that to the creative folks. We're here to talk about the career mode. So you can obviously choose the race option, which will take you into the next race. For me, again, it's Martinsville. Let's go into the team function. This is something that really excited me, and I wanted to see how it worked. So here we are. You have, for each option, let's back out just for a second. Now, if you look in the bottom left-hand corner, you'll see race 6 is at Martinsville, and the winner gets $17,500. Okay, well, that's all well and good and everything, but what do I get as a bottom tier team? For me, I've been finishing anywhere from, and I'll show you that here in a few minutes, but I've been finishing generally in the 20s somewhere. Sometimes if I have a good run, I might get up a little better than that, but generally I'm in the 20s to down around 30th, depending on the track. The car basically is just slow. It is quite a bit slower than if you just hopped into from the main menu. If you just hopped into a race, choose your favorite driver and go at it from that angle. This car, for me, has been anywhere from 2.5 seconds per lap slower than what I can run under a normal race conditions and not career mode. So it's a huge difference for me. Now, granted, I haven't taken all the time in the world to work on all the setup options and all that kind of thing specifically for this mode, but it's quite a bit slower. It feels that slow as well. So I wanted to see, okay, what kind of progression can I get? Well, what I've been getting is the winnings in the race, for me finishing, again, in somewhere in the 20s, is generally around $4,000 to $5,000. Now, one of the first things you do in this mode as well. After you finish the, you've probably seen a couple of videos on this from the developers before the game actually came out, where they were showing that the first thing you have to do in career mode is finish top 30 twice. Well, you have to do that. Once you do that, you get a sponsor. Now, your main sponsor for now, at the very beginning where I'm at, pays me $5,000 per race. So some quick math tells you that you're going to get somewhere around 9 to 10,000 per race at this rate. Now, the second thing that happens pretty quickly into it, after, I don't know, probably 3-4 races, I can't remember exactly, you pick up the option for a secondary sponsor, which we'll get to in just a moment. But first, let's look at the investment options to grow your team. So you start out having to purchase garage space. There are no other options available. Everything else is grayed out. Garage space costs you $10,000, and as you can see, I've already purchased that. When you purchase that, it opens up engine shop to the right, and then also it opens up all the options down here below. So basic milling is next, and I believe it was somewhere around 10 to 15,000 in that range as well. And as you can see to the right, under the benefit, it says a 1% horsepower improvement. Okay, we definitely need all the help we can get. And it seems like this game is going to focus on giving you improvements in one of 3 areas. You've got engine improvements, you've got grip improvements, and then you've got aerodynamic improvements. And this first area seems to give you a little bit of everything. The basic milling gives you a little bit of extra horsepower. The next, which you can see the price is $35,000 for it, is the pipe bender, which is going to give you 2% grip improvement because it's going to work on the chassis. All right, then you've got stamping equipment, which is going to give you 1.75% airflow improvement or aerodynamic improvement. And then finally, in this particular area, you're going to get the CAD software, which is going to give you even more horsepower improvement. Now, you can see the price on these things is steadily going up, so it's going to cost ever increasingly more amounts of money. So $75,000 is quite a bit of money considering where I am, and I'm going to get anywhere from, somewhere around 10,000 to maybe 12,000, incorporating the secondary sponsor, which we'll get to momentarily. Now, if I move over to Engine Shop, unfortunately, even though these options are grayed out, it won't even let me select them just to look and see what they represent, which is unfortunate. But the Engine Shop is $100,000, which again, at this particular point in time, is going to be forever before I can get to that. But it's going to enable you, as you can see below, to get an engine specialist, control software, wind tunnel, and computer control. All of those things will give you more horsepower, and I'm hoping by the time I get to the bottom of that and purchase the computer control, that I'm going to have the max engine output, meaning it's going to be on par with every other car on the track. Move over to the machine shop, and then finally the fab shop, and I'm hoping the same thing happens there. When I open up those options, I'm hoping that will give me the ability through the machine shop to up my grip to the point that when I finally purchase all of those upgrades, that I now have all of the grip available to the other cars. And then same thing with the fabrication shop. I'm hoping by the time I get through the fab shop, the milling, robotic welding, fluid dynamics, and finally the aerodynamicists, that I now have all of the same options. I have the max engine output, I have the max grip level, and then finally I have the best aerodynamics, so that now I'm finally on par with every other car on the track. Now, for some people, I can see where this may not appeal to you because you're saying, look, I just want to jump into a car and I want to have the equal car as everybody else on the track. I definitely understand that route for sure. But for me, I'm perfectly fine with this option and am enjoying it because it's fine with me that I am at such an extreme disadvantage at the beginning and I get to work my way up through. And I think, if I can finally get to where everything has been unlocked, then it'll make it more fulfilling for me and add a different layer to the game. Now, time will tell if that ends up becoming the case or not, but that's my hope. Now, let's move on to the next section, which is the sponsor. Now, you have a main sponsor, which you can see on the hood of the car in the background, as well as on the rear quarter panels, MOOG. Now that's your title sponsor, your primary sponsor, and you can't change that. You didn't get an option for that, and at least so far as I've found, you can't change that. Maybe that changes as you progress through the game. Maybe it doesn't. We'll see. But the secondary sponsor you have complete control over. And basically, you can see that there's more money based on which tier you want to go. Now, how would you choose the particular tier? Well, I've gone conservative because I believe I can finish top 30. And if I finish top 30, then this particular sponsor is going to give me $1,750 for that particular race. That's excellent. Now, it's not enough for unlocking all the stuff we'd like to unlock, but it's part of the progression. Now, if I think that I can finish top 25 in the next race, then I could get $2,625. So as you can see, about $900 increase every time we go up a tier. The problem is, if I choose this particular sponsor of Can-Am, thinking I'm going to finish in top 25, and then I don't finish top 25, I get 0 from my secondary sponsor. So you have to weigh that balance of being sure that you're going to get, because to me right now, I can finish top 25 in some of these races, maybe most of them, but it's not really enough of a guarantee that I feel comfortable choosing that sponsor yet. So you do have these various options. Okay, and as you can see, once you progress to the point where you're leading laps, or some of you may already be talented enough to do this from the very beginning, and if so, then congratulations, because you're going to lump up a lot of money very quickly. So that takes care of the sponsor side of things. It also shows you your standings. Right now, I'm 26th after the first few races that I've done, and you can also see the drivers that surround me. Okay, now your schedule. This is where you can take a look and see where you're at, where you've been, and where you're going. Now, let's go back and take a look. Now, Daytona, I'll talk a little bit about this in another video, but the AI at Daytona were, well, just not that great. I'm not going to say horrible, and I don't want to get in too much detail because that's not what this video is about, but that was rough. So I ended up finishing 30th there, 17th at Atlanta, 20th at Vegas, and 26th at Phoenix. And also Auto Club, I finished 30th as well. Some of those tracks felt better than others to drive, but again, that's different video, different time. So I'm ready for Martinsville, and I want to also show you that if you'll look at the winner's purse, it generally goes up as you go along. So we go from 17.5, 25,000, then you get 21,000, so down a little bit there, but then you jump to 30, 29, 37. As you can see, the purse in general is increasing as we go along, as opposed to where I am now, which is over here at 17,500. So the purse is going to jump quite a bit over time. I'm not sure if that goes into the second season as well, because I'm imagining it's going to take quite a bit of time to finally reach all those unlocks. But this is something that I've been looking forward to. And I know some of you are probably wondering about, well, what kind of settings do you have as far as, how do you determine, is my career race, is it 2 laps? Is it 100 laps? Is it full race distance that you see the NASCAR guys running on Sundays? Well, here's where you get to set that. If you'll notice at the bottom of the screen, the Y option takes you to career race settings. And let's take a look at that. Now, your career AI difficulty is, you have options of easy, normal, and hard. I've left it at normal for now because the AI seem to be very excited when they race against you and very aggressive. So I've just started off with normal, knowing that I can change this at any time. So I'm not terribly worried about that. Now, race percentage by default will start at 2%. That's the lowest you can get it. And I've raised mine to 3% because of something I've noticed with the AI. Again, AI is for a different video, but I recommend you go a little bit longer races, because at the beginning, the AI seem to be all clumped together, and it's very difficult to race them because, like I said, they're very aggressive, and it's easy to have wrecks. And you end up having to restart the race or just accept that you're going to finish last sometimes because you get wrecked. But I find that if you extend the races a little bit longer, then they do tend to spread out some, and then you can race one-on-one with them and have a much better chance of having a fun race, as opposed to every race ended up being like Daytona or Talladega where you're 2 and 3 wide all the time. All right, now you'll notice down below that there are some options that are grayed out. I'm not exactly sure why. Tire wear and fuel consumption is on normal, and there are no flags. My only guess as to why that may be is because I'm running on the simulation difficulty level as opposed to maybe the arcade mode. Maybe that's why it detects that, although I would have guessed that flags would be defaulting to your normal race flags where you have yellows and black flags and move over flags and all that kind of thing. But it's defaulting to no flags, so there won't be any flags during a race. Once you get started, the only things you're going to see is a green flag and a checkered flag. So not sure exactly why that is and why I can't change it, but it is what it is. I do like the ability here to change things as you're going along. My plan is once I get a better car and I'm able to run some better laps and feel more comfortable, then I plan on changing the race length for sure and running some longer races because that's really what I'm into. So I'm excited for that. And again, if you guys have any questions about career mode and what I've seen so far, and what I've liked and what I've not liked, I plan on addressing some of the things about the game that I like and don't like in another video. But if you guys have questions about the career mode, definitely let me know in the comment section below, and I will get to them and give you the best answer I possibly can based on my experience in the game. Hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for more NASCAR Heat Evolution here on Knee Pit Gaming.